Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Balancing Hormones with Essential Oils. I'm really glad you're joining me at this time. My name is Susi Roos, and I have been a registered holistic nurse for over 40 years and an integrative cancer coach for at least 10 of those. I help people achieve their health and wellness goals through lifestyle, dietary, and mind-body interventions. And essential oils are so impactful in every one of those arenas. These beautiful, non-toxic gifts of the earth are truly amazing. And I'm excited to help you discover how easily and safely they can be used to improve your health and that of your family. And you do not have to be a nurse or a cancer coach to use them safely and effectively, and also to fall in love with them. So what you see on this page is literally a snapshot of my journey into conventional as well as integrative and holistic medicine. And now I'm really happy to share with you. So this is what we're going to be covering this evening. We're going to be looking at hormones, of course, what they are and what they do, why imbalances are so pervasive, what those imbalances look like, and how we can support a hormone balance reset. That's what it's all about. The second part, we're going to be looking at how doTERRA and essential oils fit into the hormone balancing equation. We're going to do a little essential oil 101 for those who are new to oils, and it might be a little review to others. We want to address the 5 key areas required for regaining health in general, and of course, more specifically, hormone balancing. And I want to provide you with very specific recipes and identify individual oils and blends that are really targeted to resolve symptoms related to hormone imbalances. So I really encourage you to get out some paper and pen to take some notes. I'm going to give you a lot of really practical information, and I want you to be able to apply it very specifically to you. Then the last thing we're going to do is I want to show you how you can get your hands on these oils if you don't have a doTERRA membership, and how to move forward with your personalized hormone balancing protocol if you do. So let's jump into hormones. What are hormones? They're chemicals that carry messages from our glands to our cells and then to the cells in all organs and systems in our body. And the purpose of these chemicals is to help maintain proper balance and stability, something called homeostasis in our bodies, as our inner and outer environments are constantly changing. Something needs to help our bodies and our minds respond appropriately and stay in balance and function as well as possible. So that is the job of hormones. And a lot of people when they think of hormones, they think of estrogen and progesterone and testosterone and cortisol. And of course, those all are hormones. But the purpose of this picture is to show you just how many hormones there actually are in the body and how many different glands and organs in the body produce them. And here I want to show you how much they interact with each other. You can see in this picture just how interwoven the work of each hormone and organ system is to the next. You can see, if you can see it on this picture, the solid lines sort of show how one organ or gland releases a hormone to stimulate something happening in the body, whereas in the feedback mechanism, the dotted lines show where one gland secretes a chemical to inhibit a function when we don't need it to be so active or we need it to stop. So the point of this is not to try and figure out all this dance here, but it's to understand that no gland or hormone works in isolation. So if something is going on in one area of the body or something is thrown off, there's a really high probability that something else is thrown off as well. And so we have to learn to go upstream a little bit and also view it very holistically so that we can support our incredible bodies to come into balance again. And when hormones are in proper balance, oh my gosh, the body really thrives because all these systems are working together and dealing well with our internal and external environments. But when they're not in proper balance, it often has a huge continuing domino effect with one another that sometimes can make it a little challenging to unravel by the time you have symptoms. So we hear a lot today about hormone imbalances, more so than, say, 20 years ago, yet women have been dealing with hormone imbalances, since probably the onset of the human female. So why do we experience so many hormone imbalance issues right now? And some of it has to do with aging, but of course, women have been aging from the moment they were first conceived. So that isn't answer enough. Poor diet, that is a really big one today. A lot of our food isn't really food. It should be called food-like substances, and they contain a lot of chemicals that our body doesn't recognize and has reactions to. So diet is a big role. Stress. I don't know if you've actually heard this term, rushing women's syndrome, but it's happening with so many of us. Stress does a real number on our whole endocrine system and the hormones in our body, as well as our blood sugar levels and inflammation and so many other things that dance together to create challenges. Inadequate sleep is another big one. It seems that women are multitasking in their lives far more than at other times, trying to cover so many roles and often put themselves last, and sleep is one of the first things to go. And sleep has a huge relationship with homeostasis or balance in the body and hormones specifically. Then we have all the toxins and resulting inflammation in our bodies. So our ancestors did not need to deal with all of this. Now, they had some other issues and stress challenges in being able to survive, but it's not this same set of factors that we have today. And here's the double-edged sword. Aging, like we just mentioned, creates hormone imbalances, but hormone imbalances also create aging. So we really want to work with this to get a handle on both minimizing the impact of aging on hormones and the hormone imbalances on aging, so we get out of that round robin. So I want to give you some signs of hormonal imbalances, and I want you to see for yourself how many of these you might be having. You can see the first one is irritability. I encourage you to, take a couple of notes and just get a sense if this is a significant issue in your life, bigger perhaps than you were associating with it before. So irritability, weight gain, brain fog. Oh my gosh, I hear so much about this from women, and not just the women clients I have that have had to deal with chemotherapy and drugs like that. It seems to be a growing concern for younger and younger women, and then going up into older age. Low libido. is another manifestation of hormone imbalances, hair thinning or loss. And this seems to be a bigger issue these days as well. I think thyroid imbalances are tremendously common and often undetected. And that is one of the sources, not the only one, of hair thinning or loss. It's definitely not a man's problem alone anymore. Mood swings. You can ask yourself, you can ask the men in your life, your friends, how are you doing with mood swings? Another big indicator of hormone imbalances. Digestive issues, the gut and the brain and the hormones and inflammation and autoimmune disease, which is related to hormone imbalances, they all dance together. And digestive issues are a big contributor to hormone imbalances today. Anxiety, your anxiety and stress, and how anxious are you? Again, they feed one another. Anxiety is a sign of hormone imbalances, but hormone imbalances also create anxiety. The sleep issues that I already mentioned is another big one. Ideally, we're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night and practicing really good sleep hygiene. Unfortunately, I don't see the majority of women doing this. We'll talk a little bit about how to use oils for this, but we could do a whole class just on good sleep hygiene, and maybe I will one of these days. And the last sign or symptom of hormone imbalances that I want to touch on tonight is you seem to get sick a few times a year. And maybe that's a change, that you didn't have that before, but now you just don't seem to have the same resilience in the presence of stress or other people getting sick. And if you look at this picture here, you may also feel you are not looking or operating at your best. Looking a little worn or frazzled. You know, how many of these do you recognize? So ideally, we would see a functional medicine practitioner, because these trained professionals can measure your current hormone levels and things like, just to name a few, the cortisol, estrogen, progesterone, your DHEA, your pregnenolol. They can do a thyroid panel, and a proper thyroid panel that includes far more than a THS and a T3 and T4, if you've had any of that done. You also will look at inflammatory markers and detox markers so they can really see where you are right now. And then they're trained to sort of play detective so that they can identify causes and then customize a plan accordingly. That said, many people don't have access to a functional medicine practitioner, or they're just not going to go there. And so I want to tell you, even though that's the gold standard, there are many, many things that we can do to support our body's ability to self-regulate and heal. And there are several things that we need to do hormone balancing. It really requires a reset. We just can't get around better self-care. We are going to talk about some pretty amazing essential oils, but there are no magic bullets, and we've got to be willing to treat ourselves with more care and more love. So what kind of things are required for this balancing? Well, lifestyle is sort of an overarching one. Under that, you could have dietary changes. Most of us need to do some of those. Stress management, we already touched on that as a cause, and so it's also a process of alleviating hormone imbalances. Reducing toxic load, that is a huge one today. We have more toxins in our environment and thus in our bodies than probably at any other period of certainly recent history, the last 100 years or more. and the better sleep, which I already touched on. So we're going to take a look at some of these things because essential oils can touch on all of them. So let's look a little bit at essential oils. I want to do this in case you're new to oils. I want you to have at least a little understanding about what they are and how they do their seeming magic. They work at a cellular level. So we're not just talking symptomatic relief. They work to create cellular vitality to help restore hormonal balance. We can use them for anti-aging, naturally boosting energy, decreasing stress, and so much more. But what exactly is an essential oil? They're these beautiful, natural, aromatic compounds found in plants. The plants actually have oil sacs. And if you look a little closely at this picture here, it's a peppermint leaf that's been many, many, many times magnetized, so that, or not magnetized, but enlarged enough so that you can actually see the oil sac, one of the many oil sacs found on in the peppermint leaf. They're powerful. They're safe when you have just a few guidelines. They provide a tremendous amount of benefit. They're cost effective. And again, used safely, there are really no side effects. They're a beautiful, beautiful gift from Mother Nature. And the reason why they're so powerful for us is because essential oils are the plant's own medicine cabinet. They're 50 to 70 times more potent than in their herbal form. And for those of you that know and love herbs, herbs are fabulous. It's just when we distill the oils from the plants, they become much more potent. They share the same properties for the most part, but they're much more potent. One drop of peppermint oil, for instance, is the equivalent of 28 cups of peppermint tea. And the oils inhibit the growth of bacteria, viruses, and fungi for the plants and parasites, and because the plants have to be able to defend themselves from these kinds of invasions. We all see certain trees and plants that sometimes succumb to a bacterial or a viral invasion, and the plant or the tree dies, but most of them do quite well, and that is in part owed to the essential oils that actually have antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral, and antiparasitic, anti-mold abilities. And we get to use that for ourselves as well. They also are used by the plants to repel predators, including us to some degree. We are, in some ways, we are plant predators. So we can use them also. It's not part of this particular presentation, but we can actually use them as insect repellents because that's one of their roles in plants. And they also are used by the plants to attract pollinators because that's how the plants get to reproduce and grow. And pretty much every living thing on Earth is wired to multiply. So we also, I did a class very recently on, it was called For Your Intimacy, and we got to take advantage of some of these attracting pollinator oils to use in our own lives with our own significant others. They also are used to reduce the plant's oxidative stress. I mean, the plants are exposed big time, obviously, to the sun and other factors that create a lot of oxidative stress. And the essential oils help them compensate for that or protects them from that. And we get to use the oils in the same way, which is huge because oxidative stress, inflammation, injuries, they're obviously very common with us today. And just to give you an idea, I wanted to show you how these plants from which we get our essential oils, they are literally gathered from all around the world. There's just certain places in the world that are, designed to grow various types of plants from which we harvest essential and distill essential oils. And it's really excellent when a company who is producing oils has the ability to search out the growers and the harvesters from the regions that Mother Earth or God, however you look at it, deem them to grow, because they have characteristics in the soil and the growing conditions that affect the constituents and the strength of those constituents. So I love that the oils that I use, which I'm going to share in a couple minutes, the company does this. Probably 70% of their oils come from all these regions around the world. And quality in oils matters so much. And a lot of people, even many people who are using essential oils on a regular basis, don't realize that 98% of all essential oils on the market are either food or perfume grade. They're not therapeutic grade oils. So you can see by this diagram that you've got one level, grade D, and it really should, in my book, should be grade F, like total flunko. Synthetic grade oils, those are chemicals that are used to mimic the smell of something in Mother Nature. And just like many, many other synthetic products, we are finding out that though they may create or mimic an effect, that's at a cost, that they're toxic or create other issues in our body. Mother Nature and our bodies can tell the difference. So we absolutely want to stay away from synthetic grade oils. When we talk about toxins in a little bit, I will probably touch on the fact that your synthetic fragrances, like your synthetic perfumes and air fresheners, are among the most toxic products. So never use essential oils that are synthetic. And even perfume grade oils contain a lot of harmful ingredients. They're designed to create a smell. And that smell may be one that you find desirable, you enjoy it, but your body may not be enjoying its impact, and it certainly won't have a therapeutic value. And then there are organic certified grade essential oils, and here we're getting into the realm of safe oils, because they're not going to have harsh things in them. They're not going to be synthetic. But the word natural is a little bit of a misnomer. Something could be 70% something else, and our current laws today allow it to still be called natural. And even certified organic grade essential oils can be compromised in the fields, in the harvesting, in the distilling, in the packaging. It happens. We all hear about this with organic foods, that they'll find heavy metals, or they'll find a drift over from, a nearby area that has contaminated it with a pesticide or an herbicide. So while it's a wonderful intention, my goal, especially when I'm working with people who have illnesses and need every boost for their system that they can get, I want to work with therapeutic grade essential oils, which is a very small percentage of oils. So these are some of the questions. If you're new to oils, these are some of the questions to ask yourself, because if you fall in love or you're interested in trying some of these things I'm going to be sharing in just a few minutes, you want to know that you're getting the right oils. So here are some of those questions. Does the company say where the oil is sourced? Remember I mentioned that where they are sourced, where they are grown is going to absolutely affect the constituents of the oil and therefore the therapeutic values that we want from them. So we want a company to say, yeah, we got our frankincense from Omar, or we have our lemons from Italy, our lemon oil from Italy, or wherever it might be. Another question, do they harvest at peak times to ensure the highest quality? I think we've all heard about this with food, for instance, where we have a tendency now in commercial farming to harvest foods before their peak time so that we can get them shipped to wherever and processed however, and they can then ripen while they're on the shelf in the grocery store or on their way there. The same thing is an important aspect about the quality of essential oils. So we want to work with a company that harvests their oils, that has real integrity, to ensure the highest quality. Have they created beneficial and sustainable partnerships with local growers and harvesters? And this is important not only because hopefully you're one of the people who wants to support sustainable practices on the earth, sustainable for the growers, sustainable for the earth, and sustainable for us to receive, to continue receiving the amount of oils that a essential oil company needs to be able to supply. So that's a really important question. We don't want to really support some of the middlemen at the expense of the farmers and the harvesters. And so just to be in good integrity and know we're doing good things for the earth as well as for our brothers and sisters, sustainable partnerships to me is really, really important. Plus they have the benefit often of just decades of experience in their community or in their families. And then we get to partner that with perhaps a few more modern techniques and retain the integrity of the oils themselves. Does the company provide independent third-party testing? That's another really important factor. Some companies do their own in-house testing, and it does allow the temptation of a fudge factor. Just allows that. I won't say anything more. But I would much rather be working with a company that relies on independent third-party testing to ensure the quality of the oils. And these are some of the things you want to test for: purity and potency, microbial contamination, heavy metals is such a big issue today, and pesticides. So we want to know, and are they testing all their oils versus spot testing? Does this company have oils that can be ingested? Do they have supplement labels so that you know that they're safe to ingest? You see a lot of oils that actually say do not, not for internal use. And there are some oils, no matter what the quality, that are designed, not to be, or they're not designed to be taken internally. But there's a lot of oils out there that the type of oil is one that could be utilized internally, but the quality isn't there and the purity isn't there to make that a safe practice. So look for supplement labels when you're looking at your oils. And in my own opinion, from my experiences, if I wouldn't put that oil in my body internally, I don't want to put it on my body either. I don't want to be smelling it and introducing it into my body that way, because a certain portion of that is going to end up right in my bloodstream, even if I'm not ingesting it. And if I'm not willing to ingest it, why would I want to apply it topically or aromatically? And then another thing, when we're looking at potency, can you just use 1 or 2 drops to have the effect that we're seeking? A good grade essential oil is very potent, as I already alluded to. 1 or 2 drops should be plenty at any given time. Does the oil have a strong, crisp, clean, and balanced scent? You can tell the difference between a quality and a less quality or a very low quality oil. Sometimes when I'm doing a class and people are smelling the oils that I choose, the line that I like to work with, actually the only one I'm really working with now, and they go, oh my, wow, that lavender smell or that frankincense or that oregano, oh my gosh, they can smell the difference because it's a pure, potent oil. And another interesting thing is if you put it on your skin, a pure essential oil, when it evaporates, there should be nothing left on your skin. I mean, you can't even tell it was there, which would be a little different than if you put coconut oil or olive oil on your skin. Obviously, those are not volatile essential oils, and you have a residual of that oil until it maybe eventually absorbs in your skin. But an essential oil within minutes should be not even detectable on your skin. Maybe you can smell it, but there's no residual on the skin. Does the label indicate that the oil is a therapeutic grade? Again, I think that's really important. And then the last question, you can ask many more, but the last key question that I want to bring up are all the oils of the same size bottles of different oils, are they all the same price? Because if you go to a Walmart or you go to a Bed Bath & Beyond or on Amazon, depending what resource you're using there, and they say, here's 4 bottles and they're each $19.99, whether it's peppermint, frankincense, cinnamon bark, rose, you have a very poor quality oil because every oil comes with a different price tag depending what it takes to create ounces of that oil. For instance, it takes thousands of rose petals to create a drop of rose oil, which is going to be a lot more expensive excuse me, than a bottle of lemon oil that comes from squeezed peels. So it's really important. If you get a set that all the same size bottles are the same price, don't buy it. Excuse me so much. Quality matters. Let me take a drink of water here. Filtered water, by the way. So that is why I use doTERRA oils. I did my homework. I worked with a different company for several years. And when I did my own due diligence and wanted the very, very best for my cancer clients where I knew I could depend on the quality, I chose doTERRA because they have a certified pure therapeutic grade oil. All the things we just talked about, 100% natural, nothing artificial. They're safe. They test every liter to make sure it's free of pesticides and herbicides and other chemicals. They test for how potent they are, and they're definitely sustainably grown, harvested, distilled. And as I mentioned, every liter of oil is tested. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this in this little box where I am, but on the bottom of every bottle is a lot number. And this lot number, you can go on a website, actually plug it into the website, and you will find the liter from which your bottle came from. And then you can see the 6-part testing on that liter, so you know exactly what you're getting. And I want that for myself. I want that for my family and loved ones. And I definitely want it for my cancer clients. So that's my little explanation of why I use doTERRA oils. So how can essential oils be used? We can do them, I sort of alluded to this, aromatically with a diffuser, or you can just sniff them. You can put them in the palms of your hand, breathe them in like that. You can even use a little inhaler. But aromatically is definitely a beautiful way to use oils. They hit the limbic system, which is a part of the brain right above your smell or olfactory nerves. That's where your emotional memories are, which is why smell so affects memory. It's where your blood pressure, heart rate, breathing rate, all those actions are regulated in this area. So when oils hit there, they have a big emotional and physical impact, especially with stress. You can apply oils topically, rubbing them on. You see in the bottom picture, that's a roller ball. You see those tiny little baby feet? We would definitely want a super, super, super diluted oil. I recommend diluting most of the time anyway, just as a safety practice. Some oils have to be, they're hot oils, they have to be diluted. Others are safe to be applied, occasionally directly on your skin, on a facial blemish or a burn. But I just have gotten in the habit, after taking a few essential oil safety classes, of just recommending they be a little bit diluted or appropriately diluted for age and size, whether it's in a cream, a salve, a spray, or, as again that bottom picture shows, in a roller ball. And the last way that I already mentioned is taking them internally. You can do that by adding it to a beverage, but notice that beverage is glass. You cannot add essential oils to a plastic or a styrofoam, and you shouldn't be using them anyway, but you want to be using glass or stainless steel if you're going to add oils to something. In this middle picture towards the bottom, you see somebody, it might be hard to see, but they're actually putting the oils in a capsule. It's a great way. I do this not having to do with hormone balancing, but we are in flu season right now. And there is something we call the flu bomb, where we take several antimicrobial oils and we put them in a capsule at the first sign of, ooh, something's going on. And boy, I got to tell you, it's so effective in nipping something before it starts that's why we call it the flu bomb. But we can take it internally for many, many purposes, as long as, again, they are this sort of therapeutic grade oil that has a supplement label. So now, with that little tutorial about essential oils in general, doTERRA specifically, a little background on hormones, let's get to it now, using doTERRA essential oils and some related products for hormone balancing, because that's why you're here. So one of the things that I love about doTERRA, there's many things. First, I fell in love with the oils. And then as I got to know the company, I fell in love with the company. So it's nice to have both of those things going. It just makes you feel really good. So one of the things that I do love, besides the quality of their oils and their caring for the earth, is they're not trying to target oils as some sort of magic bullet. They're saying that in order to stay on top of your health or restore it, you have to do a lot of self-care. And this is what they call their foundational pyramid. And you can see eating right is at the, is the largest factor. We just can't get around it. In some ways we are what we eat. And so doTERRA is acknowledging that. And I'm going to share in a minute or two some of the ways that you can use their oils and products to support that. And then you can see there's exercise, rest and management, stress management. We definitely have to reduce the toxic load. Does this look familiar? These are the things that I said we need in order to balance or reset our hormones. And the truth is, we need to do these things to reset any kind of condition, whether it's cancer, whether it's autoimmune disease, whether it's chronic pain, whether it's Hashimoto's. These are just the pillars for health. And so we're going to look at these, and we're also going to look at informed self-care, because that's where we have power. Okay? So let's start with that foundation of eat right. I'm not going to spend, I'm going to spend a minute or so on diet because that's not what today's focus is on. But I couldn't not mention it because what you eat is so important for hormone balancing. So this again is sort of like Eat Right 101 for hormones or for most diseases. And hopefully I'm talking to the choir here that you already are aware of this and acting accordingly, but you can see we need to avoid all the stuff, the processed foods, the GMOs, the factory farm foods, unfiltered drinking water. I don't care, by the way, if you have well water. What's in the ground today makes, well water from the ground not very safe either. Getting rid of the trans fats and the refined and just the excess sugar that so many of us are doing. That's just, again, eating right 101. So what do we want to do? You've heard this a zillion times probably from all sorts of health practitioners covering all sorts of conditions that you're looking at, whether it's weight loss or, healing from a disease or pain. You've got to get those dark leafy greens, organic produce. I don't say it here, but I would go for 80% plant-based if the healthy fats, not those trans fats that are so common in restaurant and processed foods, but the healthy fats, the coconut oil, the butter, the grass-fed butter, avocados, eggs, hemp seed, chia seeds, the flax seeds. These types of things should be making up the bulk of our diet to help our hormones. We could do a 3-day talk on foods, but this is just to sort of set the tone. This is from Dr. Amy Myers, a medical doctor who does a lot of work with hormones. So I thought I would just throw this in. This is her chart on the 5 best foods to balance your hormones. And you can, wild salmon, that's a healthy fish. The kale is one of those, dark leafy greens. Grass-fed beef. I mean, if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, you need to compensate for not having this, and you certainly can do this. But if you do eat meat, which should make up a small portion of your diet, the grass-fed beef is so different than the factory farm, which is filled with hormones that we're trying not to get into our body, as well as toxins, and the nutritional quality is designed to fatten animals, not to serve our bodies. Cherries is one that she thinks is great for hormones. And maca root is sort of like one of those superfoods, a little biohack. You can add that into your smoothie. You get maca powder. You just throw it into a smoothie and you get that benefit as well. Lots and lots of information there's several on hormones and foods, and there's a couple of really good books coming out, but it's all I'm going to say about foods, but it is an important part for balancing your hormones. We can't avoid it. And doTERRA offers a few products because they understand that we need foundational nutrition, and that even good food today does not carry the nutrient value that it did, say, during our great-grandmother's time, when right now it would take, it's sort of ridiculous, a bathtub of spinach to get what, she got in a nice-sized bowl. So doTERRA has come up with this Lifelong Vitality Pack, which helps bring our foundational nutrition up to what once upon a time really healthy eating did. I'm going to take a minute to explain it because there's real good reason why this is a bestseller item and why I take it, and several of my family members and many, many, many of my clients take it as well. There's a whole food mineral and vitamin supplement. There is an excellent omega-3 fatty acid, which is something that everybody probably needs to be on. Our brains and hormones depend on those healthy fats, and we just don't get enough of the omega-3s. And then there's the creme in my book is the alpha CRS, which is an amazing blend of antioxidants and anti-inflammatories, things you read about, quercetin and curcumin and resveratrol and pine bark extract and alpha lipoic acid and CoQ10. There's so many good things in here that literally several of my clients who see integrative oncologists have been able to stop a set of, several of the anti-inflammatories that they're given to make sure their bodies have the best terrain for fighting cancer, because alpha CRS contains them. So this is a favorite. If you want to learn more about it, please reach out to me, or if you already have a doTERRA membership, you can go to the site and visit it or revisit it. It's a fabulous product. Going along with that, we have a probiotic, and because I think everybody needs, if you're not on a good probiotic, consider this one. We just needed our gut health and our immunity. 80% of the immune system's in the gut. So, and the gut brain connection is so big that it's a piece of our nutritional and our digestive health. Terrazymes, those are digestive enzymes, especially if you're not eating much raw food or you have digestive issues. And then I threw in Digest Zen. You can see a little picture of that. It's an amazing essential oil blend that while you're dealing with any digestive symptoms, whether it's gas, bloating, constipation, stomach pain, Digest Zen is one of these amazing oils that you put a couple of drops either in water or apply topically to the belly, to the area where your discomfort is. And much, much more often than not, in 10, 15 minutes, you feel much better. Also great for nausea. It's got all these oils in there that help the digestive system, like fennel and anise and ginger and peppermint. It's got cinnamon bark in there for blood sugar control. So it's a wonderful blend. So these are some of the things that doTERRA has to support that first foundation, which is, to eat right. Give your body the tools, the resources it needs to come into its own health or restore its balance. Exercise was the second tier on that pyramid. This is it. This is all I'm going to say. Everybody's heard a zillion things about exercise, but we are designed to move. We are not designed to sit all day. High intensity exercise, rebounding. I have a picture of a man on a rebounder because I love rebounding. It is such an efficient way to exercise literally every cell in your body, get your whole lymphatic system flushed in 2 minutes, walking, running, whatever it is that works for you. But we are designed to move and move in short, intense bursts allows us to be very effective with our exercise time. And what I just put on this page are some of the oils that support a little bit more physical active life. Deep Blue is an amazing cream for the aches and pains, and I just wanted to include it. And peppermint oil and Breathe help you oxygenate during exercise, and lavender calms, and there's a whole set of oils you can use. But that's all I'm going to say about exercise. It's an important tier, and I hope you are including that. Rest and managing stress. Huge, huge, huge. The third tier. Stress. Who doesn't have it today? Now, you might know this because it's in the news a lot. Cortisol is the major stress hormone, and it creates that sort of fight or flight, or it's in response, it is produced in response to a fight or flight situation. And every time or any time we're under stress, we initiate this reaction in the body responds like it's life-threatening, even if it's, oh darn, there's a train and now I'm going to be 10 minutes late. Body doesn't interpret that differently from, oh my God, there's a tiger on my tail. And when we have constantly produce, when we're constantly under stress, we're constantly attempting to create cortisol, big hormone disruptor, creates inflammation, causes wear and tear on the body, just like an over-revving engine, and it definitely promotes aging. So we need to work with physical, mental, and emotional interventions. And I want to go over some oils for addressing stress. Remember I said how it, how when we breathe in oils, they hit the limbic system, which has a lot to do with our stress response. So let's look at this, because this is key for hormone balancing. I'm just going to literally go over some oils. Frankincense. So take some notes. Frankincense. Frankincense is such a calming oil for the nervous system. It's calming for the heart and the mind. It also initiates DNA repair. It's a beautiful, beautiful oil for stress and many, many other things. There's a saying, when in doubt, get your frankincense out. There's a reason also why it is called the king of oils. And stress is one of the perfect applications for it. It's also great if you meditate as part of your stress management and self-care. A little bit of frankincense can enhance your meditative practice. Lavender, the best known oil, I think, and most used oil for anxiety. Hospitals use it, doctor's office, dentist's office, because it's been shown to decrease cortisol levels and actually have a very palpable stress reduction effect. Vetiver, a little less known, is another great oil for relaxing and calming, and it blends very well with some other oils, such as, if you are in doTERRA, then you may be familiar with these oils. Serenity is a blend that I'm going to talk about in a minute for sleep. Roman chamomile is another beautiful oil for calming the nervous system. And balance is a blend that is known as the grounding blend, and it has a lot of wood oils in it, which just bring the energy down into our body and help literally create grounding and balance. A lot of us use it first thing in the morning to sort of get that grounding effect as we start our day. So lots of oils for stress, and you can sort of experiment, start with some of the best known, and then see what your preference is and what hits your body the best. Here's a study. I just want to share one study. There are hundreds of studies, but this is interesting. The effects of inhalation with essential oils on blood pressure and stress response of clients who had hypertension. This is from 2006. I reference it here. And I'm just going to jump right into the conclusion that the inhalation method using essential oils can be considered an effective nursing intervention that reduces psychological stress responses and serum cortisol levels, as well as the blood pressure of clients with essential hypertension. So those of you who need a little evidence-based practice, here's just one little touch. And you can certainly go to PubMed and Google many hundreds of essential oil studies on all sorts of different conditions, but this is one of the ones for stress. And here are some blends. There's several diffuser blends here, and one, we sort of call it the chill out roller bottle blend, because sometimes it's easier to have a little roller ball in your purse than be around a diffuser to, create a calming diffuser blend. I recommend that you maybe take a screenshot of this page so you have these great recipes, because you play and you see what you like, what makes you feel good, and what's the strongest, relaxing impact for you. If you don't know how to do a screenshot, you certainly feel free to contact me and I will send this to you. My contact information will be showing up before this is over. So peace and calm, calming, chill out, essential oils are fabulous. Also for sleep. Remember, sleep is another one of these components. Lavender, again, is probably, as this very well-known calming oil, is probably used the most for sleep. Often in a diffuser or a spray, where you spray the pillow or put it on the bottom of your feet. And for those that want something different than lavender or don't like quite the strong lavender smell, because doTERRA's lavender is very potent smell. Some people love it. I prefer a little less. I use this other product that you see on the page called Serenity, which has lavender in it and Roman chamomile and sandalwood. It has ylang ylang, which is a beautiful oil for calming the heart, both the physical heart and I guess what you can call the emotional heart, or probably the spiritual heart. It's a beautiful blend for sleep. And then you can still make further blends. I talked about vetiver and I talked about balance. This is a recipe called liquid sleep. Some people call it liquid Xanax. Putting balanced vetiver and Serenity in a roller ball and perhaps rolling it on the wrists, the feet, the back of the neck to really help induce sleep. And these things are very, very effective. And if sleep is a challenge, I so invite you to look at essential oils to assist your ability to get healthy, deep, adequate sleep. Now let's look at the next tier, reducing toxic load. And here we're going to look a little bit more at some of the hormone challenges created by a toxic load. One of the big things in the medical world right now is this concept of estrogen dominance. And there are so many reasons for this today. None of these are going to be new. Poor diet, obesity, liver problems, stress, heavy metals, blood sugar, all of these things do a real number on having too much strong estrogen in the body. And we want to look at what we can do about this. Stress steals another hormone that's needed to make progesterone and testosterone. And so when we have a lot of stress, we end up not making enough progesterone. And sometimes, actually often, people can have an estrogen dominance even with a normal estrogen level. And it's because progesterone is too low, because they offset one another. You need an estrogen-progesterone balance. And as we age, we make less estrogen and less progesterone, but the drop in progesterone is even greater. So if we have that coupled with more toxic estrogen coming into our environment or our foods, that creates a much larger problem. Or if the liver can't keep up with this toxic load, which includes estrogen breakdown, estrogens don't get broken down and shipped out of the body. Instead, they get recirculated in the bloodstream. So detoxifying the body and the liver is really, really an important step in trying to reduce estrogen dominance. And then really compounding the problem, and it's huge, are xenoestrogens. These are, another name could be estrogen mimickers. These are chemicals found in a lot of today's products that mimic a very strong estrogen, and they get uptaked in estrogen receptors in the body, and they act like a strong estrogen, creating some of the effects, including encouraging cancers that, they're just not healthy for the body. So we need to identify where we're getting these xenoestrogens. There's many things that we can't avoid. On the other hand, especially in our homes, there are many things that we can avoid. So here's kind of a list of things to be aware of, including this last one. Many women don't think about how toxic bleached feminine hygiene products are, like, which would include sanitary napkins, toilet paper, tampons, diapers for, that's not limited to females, obviously. Lots and lots of toxic exposure these ways. So we need to clean up our homes, our medicine cabinets, our cleaning products, and our personal care products to do what we can to avoid this kind of load. And here's one of the beautiful things about essential oils. They not only clean up your body, help detoxify it, but they're great for cleaning. And part of that is they have really strong and the same antimicrobial and antiviral and mold effects they have in our bodies can be used for cleaning our homes. So to the right here, you see a list of individual oils that are very popular, very commonly used to make your own cleaning products. So these things are great for us and they're great for our household. If you would like a copy of these recipes on the right, again, either shoot a screenshot or just reach out to me and I will make sure that you get them, because they're great ways to detoxify your home, and in doing so, you're supporting the detoxing of your body. And doTERRA also has a line of products. They call it their On Guard line, because On Guard is a essential oil blend that really boosts the immune system and protects against these environmental threats in the form of microbes. So this is just a sampling of what this line has. There's a general all-purpose cleanser, there's a laundry detergent, there's a hand sanitizer. Boy, when I was working in surgery, I sure wish I could have used that hand sanitizer going in and out of patients' room instead of the more toxic hand sanitizers we needed to use there. There's a fabulous hand foaming soap here, and then the last one that you see there is a toothpaste that is beautiful for protecting the healthy bacteria in our mouth and keeping out the nasties. And huge bestseller because it tastes good, it whitens teeth, and it does a great job on our gums. So anyway, another way to reduce toxins. Detoxifying the body is important. Lots of ways to do that. I'm informing you, especially if you already have a doTERRA account, that they have a 30-day cleanse and restore program. It's actually a package of all of these products with a instruction sheet that tells you how to use and which times you use which products to help your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, your skin, your stomach, everything detoxify. And it's designed that you can do it while you're in the midst of your everyday life, although being in super stressful times and not being able to control your, what you're eating would not be a good time to do it. If you want to know more about Cleanse and Restore, please reach out to me. I have used it myself, and I've had many, many clients use it, and so we can upgrade it to what we call the transformational cleanse when we add a very high degree of nutritional, we'll say, selectivity over that month. So now let's look. This is probably what a lot of you were hoping to find out today. We're going to go into very specific informed self-care measures. This is like the 5th out of the 6 tiers in the doTERRA chart, and actually for any overarching wellness plan, that's comprehensive and holistic. So the essential oil star for women's hormonal imbalances is a blend called Clary Calm. You can see on the label, It's known as the monthly blend for women. And it's often used to help balance estrogen and other hormones because clary sage is one of the main components. And clary sage is a herb in an oil form here that actually helps regulate hormones. If they're too low, it helps them increase. If they're too high, it helps lower the levels. It's got lavender, it's got bergamot. You can see why they're in here. Roman chamomile is an antispasmodic for when you get tight muscle aches, or maybe even during PMS types of things, if you are still are in that phase of your life. Cedar wood helps the nervous system. Ylang ylang, going back to that, I mentioned it in the Serenity blend. This is a beautiful, calming, heart-opening oil. And who doesn't need a little bit more self-love and joy while they're dealing with some hormonal issues? Geranium, also designed for hormonal imbalances. Fennel actually helps a lot with some of the specific issues of menopause. Carrot seed oil is also, this is not an essential oil, but it's an oil in the product. Also great. A lot of homemade products and such carry or contain carrot oil because it really helps with PMS. Palmarosa is another oil that really reduces body stress. doTERRA does not sell that as a separate oil, but it is found in Clary Calm along with Vitex, which I think is a grass. There's many studies out showing that it actually helps regulate estrogen levels. And just like clary sage, we're talking about, does it need to go up? Does it need to go down? It helps the body regulate what it needs. Our bodies are designed to heal, regenerate, and be whole, but we have to support it in this process and give it the tools and the resources to be able to do what it's designed to do. So that's Clary Calm. And along with Clary Calm, here are the other 4 hormone-loving essential oils. And I'm packaging it like this. If you're just looking at what can I do for my hormones beyond Clary Calm, these are the ones that make a difference. I talked about the grounding. Peppermint provides energy. Also, if you don't have Clary Calm, it definitely cools hot flashes very quickly. It helps with any digestive issues, muscle pains that may be part of the process. Motivate is a blend that does exactly what that says. That is one of my favorites. I carry Motivate with me all the time, in part because I like its impact on just keeping me going. And I love, 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 love the scent of it. So I sort of use it a little bit like like a perfume. I won't do any of these synthetic toxic chemicals. Slim and Sassy. This is known as the metabolic blend, and it is designed to help with the weight loss issues, the sugar cravings, fat burning, and metabolism boosting, all things that can get thrown off with hormonal imbalances. We know there's a huge connection between hormonal imbalances and extra weight, or difficulty losing weight, or having sort of fat deposits in areas where you would rather not. So these are our 5 hormone-loving essential oils. A few other ones that we use to support them: lemon oil, because lemon oil helps increase glutathione levels, which helps the body detoxify. We keep coming back to this principle. We've got to get these xenoestrogens, the petrochemicals, the heavy metals out of the body to support the liver to do what it needs to do without getting harmed. So, and just like it's a great cleanser for your home, it's a great cleanser for your body. Clove, I have to mention clove because it is such a high antioxidant value. You know how we're often told, eat your blueberries because they're a very high antioxidant value. On the scale that measures it, blueberries are about 2,400, which is very high for foods. A lot of them are more like 300, 400. But clove oil on that same scale is about 1,000,000. So I add a drop of clove oil to my tea with a little coconut oil just about every day. I just want that antioxidant. I want the gift of an anti-inflammatory antioxidant. Whatever I can do to support health and slow down aging is good in my book. And that's such an easy intervention. And it also, of all the plants tested, it inhibited estrogens from binding to cells in breast tissue. So for women dealing with estrogen positive cancers or just trying to avoid that, what a beautiful, simple, inexpensive intervention. Now, to boost progesterone so that we can help offset an estrogen dominance, look, we're working with the same oils. We just don't have peppermint in this group, but we're still working with Clary Calm, Motivate, Balance, Slim, and Sassy. So we don't know our progesterone levels. We know we're helping our body balance out estrogen and progesterone and deal with the symptoms we have while we're doing so. Some of the supplements that support hormone balance, I already talked about the Lifelong Vitality, one of my definite go-tos for everything. I mean, just for my health. I want to mention there's also a bone nutrient and a phytoestrogen. Phytoestrogens are weak plant estrogens that help for women who either have low estrogen and they're having symptoms, like flaxseed and soy. Those are weak phytoestrogens, weak estrogens. So, but not only will they provide a little bit more estrogen, and you might be one of these people, no, I have estrogen dominance, or I have an estrogen-driven cancer. When you take in weak plant estrogens, they compete for the receptor sites where estrogens land in your cells. They compete with these xenoestrogens and some of the stronger estrogens that your body makes that we really don't want it to do, but the food choices and some of the other things sort of cause that. So it lessens the ability of those things to land on our cells. We'd much rather have a weaker estrogen there than a toxic estrogen. And bone nutrient, of course, I think people know that there's a real connection between hormone imbalances and bone density loss or bone strength loss. So this is a fabulous bone nutrient to help build bone safely. The one on the far left here, the Mito 2 Max, that is really helpful if you're dealing with low energy. It is a non-caffeine source of improving energy and stamina. And it does it by affecting our mitochondria, which are the energy factories in our cells. And that's why it's called Mito 2 Max. It improves their capacity to produce energy. So it's a sustained energy boost, not a temporary caffeine lift and drop, and it doesn't drain your adrenals or another part of your body the way caffeine or some of these other stimulants do. So it's a really nice product if that is something you're working with. Now let's look at, again, write some of these things down if you have these symptoms, because these are combinations for specific symptoms, and you're going to notice they're all various combinations of all the oils and the supplements that I've introduced already. So whether it's hot flashes or mood swings or fatigue or brain fog, you work with the same sort of basic set of oils, which is why we call them the 5 favorite hormone balancing oils. So again, take a screenshot if these are relevant to you, or reach out to me and I will get them. And here's a few more for you. Cravings, which we all know can happen when you have imbalances or you have a lot of yeast in the body. Candida, it really encourages your body, kind of takes over, hijacks your 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 taste desires, and it really, because it wants sugar to for it to grow or to get a better foothold in your body. So again, notice we've got peppermint motivate, slim and sassy, the bone nutrient, we have clary calm, weight loss, that slim and sassy, the clary calm for the hormone balancing, lemon to get some of the toxins out so your body's willing to release fat that isn't filled with toxins, and libido. Now there's 2 oils on here that have not shown up elsewhere yet, whisper and passion. And they're beautiful, beautiful, sort of sensuous blends. They have jasmine and frankincense and sandalwood, and they really appear to have a positive effect on your libido or perhaps on the libido of your partner. Many, many women use these for perfumes as well as just for a really wanting to feel good about yourself as a woman, or see if you could turn up the action a little bit. So again, specific, combos for specific symptoms. I want to mention one thing about thyroid support, because so much hormone imbalance hits the thyroid, which is not all by itself. Thyroid conditions are not isolated, and they really should be addressed by a functional medicine practitioner to determine, what the cause is. It's usually a downstream effect, not stemming from the thyroid itself, although it can be. So here are some great oils that will just support the thyroid in functioning as best as it can, in addition to these other methods of getting rid of toxins and the proper food support and so on. If I had to pick one of these for thyroid, it would be myrrh, and then probably frankincense, but all of them have a role, and this is a recipe. I just want you to notice that this is not just telling you the oils, this is a recipe, 20 drops of each in a 10 ml roller ball, and then you fill the rest of it with fractionated coconut oil. The DDR Prime is a blend that stands for damaged DNA repair, and it does have frankincense and myrrh and lemongrass in it. So you can sort of add it to the roller ball, and you can, if you're doing some of these things individually, you can alternate. But this is definitely just for, we're not diagnosing. In fact, anything that I'm doing here tonight should not be construed as a diagnosing, as treatment, as medical care, either for emotional or physical medical problems. This is all for educational reasons or purposes. And this particular blend is simply a powerful support for your thyroid while you are seeking out causes and getting rid of those and getting your body in balance. But this is something that supports your thyroid in recovering itself. Adrenal support, 1 drop of basil essential oil over your adrenals, which are right above your kidney. That just helps. When we're under big stress, adrenals get really sort of over pushed, and we don't really use this term too much anymore, adrenal fatigue, but they just get really tired. And basil is just one of the oils that rejuvenates the adrenals, just like juniper oil really supports the kidneys. And so you can put a drop or so just over each adrenal, right above the kidneys on each side. And as I said earlier, I recommend diluting oils that you're going to be applying on a regular basis topically. So these are some of the recipes for doing self-care while you're making other changes to get your hormones in balance, to support the body in doing what it's capable of. So how can you make this essential oil magic happen. That's what we're going to look at now. If this interests you and you want to get started, let's take a look. So if you were to get those 5 hormone-loving essential oils, you bought them all, they would cost you $148 retail. But I don't suggest you get any oils retail because it's easy to get them at wholesale. That's what the WS stands for. So these $148 worth of these 5 oils would cost you only $111 wholesale. If you don't have a membership that allows you to get them wholesale, you'd put $35 on one time, and you're about breaking even just with your first purchase. If you want to know the individual prices of these, you can go on my website, self-careessentials.com, and you can look up the prices of them individually. But this is what it would look like, what it would cost you to get all 5 of them. I think it's a pretty affordable package to really support so many issues with hormone balancing. The Cleanse and Restore kit that I mentioned, I just want to put a price on it. That would, for the month-long program, retail $326. Wholesale drops down to $245, and it includes your membership and menus that I would supply and some guides on how to use it all. So a super deal for a month-long detox program that is supported by, a healthcare professional. The thyroid support, this is what that would look like. Retail, $241. Wholesale, they're $181, all 5 of them. And so even with getting the membership, which is good for a year, it's sort of like a Costco membership, it's still less than the retail. And from thereafter, you can get all your products at wholesale. I just want you to know what it would take to do this. This is that great lifelong vitality. Again, putting a price on it. So you see, I like to be really transparent. The $106 retail for a month's supply, but it drops to $79.50 wholesale for all 3 of these excellent supplements, which is, I got to cut back on probably another $65 of supplements when I began using these. So to me, this is a steal deal. And there's a way to make it an even better deal, which I'll touch on in a minute. This is that woman's health kit. If you feel like you need, or it's been suggested by your healthcare professional, that phytoestrogens and a bone nutrient would be really helpful. When you can get both of those together with Clary Calm, and all 3 of them would be $90-some retail, $69 wholesale as a kit. And even the wholesale price would have been $80-some if they were purchased separately. And you'd have to add a $35 membership on there if this is the only thing or the first thing that you want to purchase from doTERRA. So let's just take a minute. If you already have a doTERRA wholesale account, how can you get on with adding some of these products to your self-care healthcare? Okay, if you already have an account, you can just go into your account and order whatever you like at wholesale prices. If you don't remember how to do that, I will be glad to go over that with you. Just reach out to me. And I really recommend schedule a free wellness consult with me so we can really look at what's best for you and kind of create a 3-month plan to gradually and successfully implement the oils and supplements. And if you start getting more involved with these oils, or like the lifelong vitality that you'd like to order monthly, then it's time to consider loyalty reward orders. It's sort of like a frequent flyer program where you start to earn back each month on your orders. So like now, because I've been doing this for a while, I not only get the wholesale price of 25% off, I get an additional 30% back on everything I order in points that I just trade dollar for points with buying oils. So it's an awesome program if you want to make a commitment to order monthly, which you do not need to do. So anyway, at the bottom of the page, you can see, you can reach out to my my email address, or you can give me a phone call, 815-308-0828, if you want to ask me a question or schedule a wellness consult. I love doing them. I love supporting people on knowing how, being empowered to use these oils and to get the best prices and deals possible. Now, what happens if you don't have a doTERRA wholesale account? Well, you got a couple of options. You could pay the $35 enrollment fee. It's like your Costco card, only a lot cheaper than a Costco card, and purchase the specific oils you want at 25% off. There's a couple ways to do that. If you're one of these self-starter people, you can go right to my website, selfcareessentials.com, click on the right upper corner where it says order now, follow the prompts, and you can enroll yourself and place your order. And of course, you could just reach out to me and I will help enroll you, help you determine what you need, and schedule a wellness consult so we know you're getting the biggest bang for your buck. Another option, if you don't have a doTERRA wholesale account already, you could save that $35 enrollment fee and buy a kit like that Cleanse and Restore Detox kit, or the kit of the 10 most common oils. And then you get a kit at below wholesale price and you don't have to pay that, that enrollment fee. And how do I suggest you do that? Is set up a wellness consult with me, just to help choose what's best for you. And then, of course, the third option, if you're just not sure that you want to dive in, but you're curious about these oils and want to know more, please, 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 once again, reach out to me at scessentials@yahoo.com for a free wellness consult so we can make sure essential oils can indeed support your personal health and wellness goals, and that you'll actually use them to get the benefit. I'm going to skip this. I already told you this. And because I love to encourage self-care action, if you place an order after watching this presentation, even if you're watching the recording, I will gift you 2 additional essential oil products at no cost to you. That's my thank you and my encouragement for you to utilize these amazing gifts of the earth. That, by the way, is what doTERRA means in Latin, gift of the earth, for your own health and well-being, because that's my mission to empowering you to do so, and give you some of the tools. If you're ordering on your own, just send me an email so I know that you've done it, and then I can send you the oils. Or again, we'll meet, I'll help you do it, and then get you the oils to just further aid your commitment to yourself. And the last thing, well, let me show you here first, just give you sort of one page that shows all the oils we've been talking about, the 5 hormone loving essential oils, the Cleanse and Restore kit, the thyroid balancing oils, the lifelong vitality, and the women's health kit. It sounded like so many things as I was going through it. So I just want you to see they're already grouped together for your convenience about what they're used for. And again, I'll be very glad to help you if these are things you want to start incorporating on your own wellness journey. So before I leave you, I'm going to turn the recording off before we do our Q&A. There's one thing I want to leave you with. These are some final thoughts. And these are quotes, because I want to remind you, this is from Deborah Day. Nourishing yourself in a way that helps you blossom in the direction you want to go is attainable, and you are worth the effort. And the second one I want to leave you with is, And this is really powerful, I think, for so many of us. An empty lantern provides no light. Self-care is the fuel that allows your light to shine brightly. I don't know who said that, but I think it's so true. You cannot support the well-being of your family, your loved ones, or perhaps a mission in the world if you've got nothing to run on. Filling yourself full allows it all to spill over, ignite, and also model for others. So please, please, please remember that self-care is healthcare, self-care is self-love, self-care becomes the means to support care for your loved ones. So thank you so much for joining me this evening to learn how essential oils can help balance your hormones and just support your body in healing, regenerating, and being whole, which is what it was designed to do. So I will bid you a beautiful farewell, a lovely evening, healthy, restorative sleep, and the ability to make new goals and fulfill them so that you become a font of loving, healthy energy for your loved ones and the world. All righty. Good night.